You know, there are some things in life you just can't argue with. The sky's blue, water's wet, and the smell of a barbecue on a sunny Saturday is one of the greatest things on earth. Unless, apparently, you're my neighbor. Have you ever had a neighbor who just seems to be living in a totally different reality? Well, let me tell you about the time my simple backyard barbecue turned into an all-out war. A war that involved accusations of terrorism, a cursed tofu burger, and something she called aura assault. Seriously, you are not going to believe this. The scene was perfect. I mean, it was one of those flawless suburban Saturdays, straight out of a movie. The sun was out, not a cloud in the sky, and there was just enough of a breeze to keep things from getting sweltering. It was the kind of day that was practically begging for a barbecue. So, my wife and I decided to answer the call. Look, we're not party animals. We live a pretty quiet life with our 2 kids on a sleepy little cul-de-sac. The most exciting thing that usually happens is someone getting a new lawn flamingo. We just wanted to have a few friends over, maybe a dozen people total, some family, a couple of friends, their kids. The plan was simple: good food, good company, and just enjoying our backyard. I had the grill fired up by 2 p.m., and that smell of charcoal was just starting to mix with the scent of freshly cut grass. I was in my element. I had tongs in one hand, a cold drink in the other, and I was flipping burgers and hot dogs. Our friends started to show up. My buddy Derek, who has zero filter, was already telling a terrible dad joke. My wife was putting out the potato salad. The kids were all running around playing tag. It was idyllic. Peaceful. Exactly what you hope for on a weekend. I had no idea that 3 houses down, a storm was brewing. A storm dressed in all white linen, probably fueled by kombucha and a deep-seated sense of grievance. This wasn't just any neighbor. This was Karen. And yes, that is her actual, honest-to-God name. We'd had weird, minor run-ins with her before, a passive-aggressive note about our recycling bin being 2 inches too close to her driveway, a complaint that our kids' laughter was disrupting the migratory patterns of local finches, but nothing could have prepared me for this. I was just laying a perfect slice of cheddar on a burger when I heard it. It wasn't a normal voice. It was a performance. A loud, booming, theatrical sound that sliced right through the happy chatter of our party. "Excuse me." I looked up, and there she was. Standing at the very edge of our property line, hands on her hips, looking like she was about to launch into a Shakespearean monologue. She was a good 30 feet away, but she was shouting like I was on the other side of a football stadium. "Excuse me. I need to speak to whoever is responsible for this. This atrocity." A few of my friends stopped talking and just looked confused. I shot a look at my wife, who just sighed and gave me a glance that clearly said, "You're up." So, I put on my best friendly neighbor smile, grabbed my tongs, because you never, ever abandon your tongs, and walked over to the edge of the lawn. "Hey, Karen. How's it going?" I said, trying to keep it light. "We're just having a little get-together." She literally took a step back like I was carrying the plague. "A little," she scoffed, clutching her chest for drama. "A little? Do you have any idea what you're doing to my home right now? The air, it's unbreathable." I was genuinely confused. "It's just a barbecue, Karen. The smoke is going pretty much straight up." She shook her head, giving me a look of profound disappointment. "It's not the smoke," she explained, like she was talking to a toddler. "It's the particles. The meat particles. They are infiltrating my sacred space. My aura is being poisoned by the stench of death." I just stood there, tongs in hand, blinking. I had absolutely no idea what to say to that. "My aura is being poisoned," I repeated, just trying to make the words make sense. "Yes." I was in the middle of a deep-energy crystal meditation when your miasma of charred flesh came wafting through my window. It is a violation of my spiritual and physical sovereignty. By now, our entire party had ground to a halt. Everyone was just watching. My friend Derek, always the diplomat, muttered just loud enough for everyone to hear, "Pretty sure auras don't have noses." Before I tell you how completely insane things got after that, I gotta ask, have you ever had a run-in with a neighbor that left you totally speechless? Tell me your story in the comments. I really need to know I'm not alone here. Karen's head whipped around toward Derek, her eyes narrowing. "Excuse me," she shrieked. But before she could unleash on him, she seemed to get a better idea. She spun around, marched back to her house in a huff, and disappeared inside. For a second, there was just stunned silence. Then a few friends started laughing. "Is she for real?" Derek asked, grabbing a chip. "You have no idea," I said, shaking my head and walking back to the grill, really hoping that was the end of it. Oh, how wrong I was. That was just the intermission. 5 minutes later, she was back. This time, she came bearing a gift. Or what she thought was a gift. She held a plate with a single, sad-looking patty on it, holding it up like it was the Olympic torch. "I am offering you a peace treaty," she announced to my whole backyard. "I understand you may not know any better. You're trapped in a cycle of culinary violence. So, I brought you an alternative." She marched right up to my grill and showed me the patty. It was a tofu burger. But it was the most pathetic-looking tofu burger I'd ever seen. It looked like it had been in a fight and lost, badly. It was somehow burnt to a crisp on one side and totally raw and mushy on the other. "This," she declared, "is what ethical eating looks like. This is what compassion tastes like. Cook this. Let its purity cleanse the death energy from your grill." I just stared at the sad, broken little patty, then back at her. "Karen," I said, as politely as I possibly could, "I appreciate the offer, but really, we're good. We're happy with our burgers." I suggested maybe she could just go inside, close her windows, and we could all enjoy our own Saturdays. That was the worst possible thing I could have said. Her face went a shade of red I've only ever seen on a fire hydrant. "So you refuse my peace offering," she seethed. "You choose violence." And then she pulled out her phone. "That's it. I'm calling the police." "For what?" I asked, completely baffled. "For environmental terrorism," she yelled. "And or assault. Your meat smell is a weapon. According to some sources, it's basically biological warfare against vegans." My other neighbor, Tom, who'd been quietly eating potato salad and watching the show, finally decided to speak up. "Karen, for crying out loud, I can see your brand new air purifier running in your window from here. You're fine." She totally ignored him. Her eyes scanned my yard and landed on my 8-year-old daughter, who was happily eating a hot dog. Karen pointed a shaky finger at her. "And you," she boomed. "You are complicit in a system of oppression. Every bite you take contributes to the suffering of innocent creatures." Okay, that was it. That was the line. You can insult my cooking. You can accuse me of spiritual war crimes. You can even try to make me eat your disaster of a tofu burger. But you do not, under any circumstances, lecture my kid and make her feel bad for eating a hot dog at her own party. I didn't yell. I didn't lose my temper. I just felt this weird, icy calm wash over me. I set my tongs down. "Karen," I said, my voice low and firm. "You need to leave my property. Now." She looked shocked, like she couldn't believe I was defying her. "I'm documenting this for the neighborhood consciousness," she shot back. "That's fine," I said. "Document this. You are on my property, harassing my family and my guests. I'm having a perfectly legal party, at a reasonable hour, on my own land. If you have a problem, feel free to contact the HOA. I paused for a second. Although, I'm pretty sure the HOA president, who's currently eating a burger right over there, might not be too sympathetic. I gestured over to our friend, the president of our homeowners association, who was mid-bite and looking just as confused as everyone else. He gave Karen a little wave with a hand holding a half-eaten cheeseburger. The look on Karen's face was priceless. It was this mix of fury, defeat, and total disbelief. She was beaten. She knew it. She sputtered for a second, trying to find words, but nothing came out. Finally, she just turned around, yelled that karma would handle me, and stormed back to her house, slamming the door so hard I think a few of those finches she loves were probably knocked out of a tree. The moment her door slammed, the whole party was dead silent for about 3 seconds. Then, Derek just burst out laughing, and suddenly everyone was joining in. The tension just vanished. The crisis was averted. The Great Barbecue War was over. After she left, my wife thought maybe I should have been a little more sympathetic to her, let's call it a unique worldview. My friends thought I should have thrown the tofu burger on the grill just to see what would happen. And my kids just thought the whole thing was hilarious and kept asking me what aura assault meant. But as I stood there, watching my friends and family go back to laughing and enjoying the day, I figured out the moral of the story. Living in a neighborhood means being considerate, for sure. But it doesn't mean you have to set yourself on fire to keep someone else warm, especially when that someone else is living on a totally different planet. You have a right to live your life and enjoy your own backyard, especially when you're doing something as normal as grilling burgers on a Saturday. Your neighbor's choices are their own, but they don't give them control over your grill. The verdict was in, not the asshole. The only crime I committed was the cardinal sin of grilling meat. And for that, I felt zero guilt. Only the deep satisfaction of a perfectly cooked burger and the knowledge that I now had one hell of a story to tell. So what do you think? Was I in the wrong? Should I have shut the whole thing down? Let me know your verdict. And if you liked this story, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe for more, and ring that notification bell so you don't miss the next time my neighborhood descends into total chaos. Until then, keep on grilling, my friends. Keep on.